All right, folks. Today we're going to start a 3-video series called Was She in a Cult? So join us as we react to the series Shiny Happy People and see if Alethea was actually part of a cult.
So they're talking about when Ron was like, we need our voice to be heard. And it was like, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because regardless if it's just culture or if it's political or whatever, it's if you don't stand up and say something about what you believe, then you're saying that you accept with what's happening.
Right.
And so when you're in these, I mean, we're only like 7 minutes in. We haven't even really started talking about Teen Mania or anything. It's just saying like there's these couple events that ATF and GE and
Which is Acquire the Fire.
Acquire the Fire, Global Expeditions, and Honor Academy, all
Right.
under the Teen Mania Ministries.
Right.
And so it's like it was part of this political movement, and I don't think that I didn't recognize it as a political movement.
Well, you were also really young.
Right, and I don't know if I still even think it was so much of a political movement as it was a desire to get the next generation to raise their voice about what matters.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, to me, it was never... I would have never have thought that because that's not the way it was talked about in the churches, right? So, like they said in the beginning, it was billed as a cool concert to go, kind of a rally thing. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And then it's a good place to meet like-minded people.
Yeah.
Right? And honestly, my first exposure to any of it was Acquire the Fire. Mm-hmm. And, we went like 2 days after I moved out here. So it was like an immediate thing of like, oh, okay, we're going to this. And I volunteered and helped to get in for free, right? But because, well, we had no money and whatnot, but yeah. But we'll get into more of that later, I think. I mean, because we're just reacting to this thing as we go about it. But yeah, that's really all my exposure to it because your family was already kind of invested in it.
Right.
Because you had such a part in it. Right?
Yeah.
And, with the heavy focus on music and stuff, and all of your family really likes music, and they put on a fantastic show. So it was something that you guys went to.
Right. And I mean, from the I guess consumer side of it, I don't think that I ever had a problem with you're coming, you're putting on a big show. You've got teens that are like-minded, you've got young adults that are like saying, hey, because I like from that standpoint, it's yes, young people will respond better to other young people. Mm-hmm. And you put on this great concert, this great like couple day experience for youth groups, and then they had like breakouts for youth leaders and youth pastors and like different like groupings for training and stuff. And I mean, for me it was like Billy Graham had all these revivals this was that, but for like young people.
Right.
They talked about helping people in other countries, and you could sponsor a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it's like any kind of revival thing.
Right.
It's a concert plus more with teaching and and so in my mind it was until I went to the Honor Academy, and that's what people's jobs were. It was like, this is really cool. And I'm not saying it's not cool, because I enjoyed going every single time I went.
Right.
I loved it. And I was like, yes, let's get excited to get out there. But it wasn't like political. It never felt political. So they're talking right now about like, is this big political thing? I don't recall it ever being political. But then again, I was a teenager.
You were a teenager, right? So you were young. You weren't focused on that part of it.
Right.
Also, I mean, this is their take, right? So
Yeah.
we're going to watch and see. And then the other part is that because you were focused on something else, you may have not saw the other things.
That's possible.
And then the maybe the biggest part is you were only there for a couple of years. You weren't there the whole time. So I'm sure it went through evolutions.
Yeah, that's possible. I didn't go to every Acquire the Fire.
Well, but this is about the whole thing. It got political, right?
Right.
This episode is going to focus on Acquire the Fire. But the things behind it could have been that. Also, there could have been different evolutions to the business that they were running, that it got more of that in the later half.
Right. So it started, Teen Mania Ministries, I think it started in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And it went until like 2012, 2014, early 2010s time. I was there straight smack in the middle. 2001 is when I went to the Honor Academy. I remember then it getting a little political because, I mean, we'll get more into that, but 9/11 happened.
Right.
And so I think, I mean, everybody's year is different than everybody else's year, but that was, I think we had a very drastically different year than most other people because so much changed overnight for like world safety and
right. But we'll get there.
Politics and such. Right. But okay, Acquire the Fire. Yeah, I never caught on that there was political stuff, but I didn't go the whole time that Acquire the Fire was going on. I only went from like high school until early adulthood. So it could have gotten more political throughout the time, and I just wasn't there to experience that. So not negating, and also I wasn't in the background. So there's only to the extent that I know, to the extent that I experienced. So, but it never felt political to me. Other than like pray for your leaders, and I think that we should pray for our leaders regardless who they are, because everybody could use a little guidance.
Yep.
So, okay, continue. Okay, they're bringing in Carmen. I could never say his last name, like the Sucadero. I don't know.
Well, he's only known by his first name, like by
Carmen.
By large.
Oh my goodness, did I love myself some Carmen?
Oh, did you?
Yes.
He looks like an old man.
Right now, in the videos?
In the videos, he looks like an old man.
That's the thing.
That was back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he was like a grown man, but it was like the first acceptable form of not just worship or gospel music.
Not hymns.
Yeah.
Right.
That was allowed
in the church.
in the church, in my house. It was something different. He was an old white guy or Italian guy rapping, but like, but it was so good. Like, it has a hold on like my preteen years.
Right. And that goes with what they're talking about of like affecting the culture by essentially grabbing what's popular in the culture and putting a Jesus twist on it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and I understand.
Carmen
like,
was a start of that.
You're getting the whole thing is, we're in this big spiritual war, and there's a war on morals, and the world is doing all of these things and it's catching attention. Well, then we need to do the same thing, just Jesus. And yeah, but Carmen was fantastic. So good. Loved Carmen.
Was he fantastic, or was he just different, or both?
Here's the thing. I don't know that I can separate it because it is so like embroiled into my experience. Mm-hmm. I don't even know. I am assuming that he was at least somewhat doctrinally kind of sound.
Well, whether he was or not,
But he sang about Jesus and he made it fun.
Yes.
And he was very like out there about it. And he made big claims like, Satan, you're going down. It was stuff like, it was big, like, oh yeah, we can say stuff like this. Like, it was, I remember growing up being like, Satan is the worst, but am I allowed to hate him because I know that I'm not supposed to hate? Right. Like, is that a sin to hate Satan, or am I allowed to hate Satan? Or like, and then it was like, well, should I pray that he sees his wrongdoing and he comes back? Like, should I pray for him? Should I pray for like, so it was less like,
pray for Satan?
Pray for him to like see his wrong ways and come back to Jesus.
That's not for them.
Right. But like, I was so into it. Yeah. I really thought that like I could pray Satan back to God. And then his hold on the world would be less, because then he would have been reached. That he would see his error of his ways and he could repent. And then like, even though we had revelation, I just thought, well, what if we're like, yes, we're praying for all of these things that are happening in the world, but what if we could pray that he would change himself? And that would save everything if we just go to the source. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't think I can hate him if I'm supposed to pray for him. So I was like, I do not like everything he does. I dislike him very much, but I don't want to say I'm hating, because hating seems like a sin. Like it just.
So essentially for you, then the Carmen starts was essentially the start from going from pastel Christianity, like music, to more of a in your face, not grunge, but just like more hard Christian music.
Yeah, I guess more like eye-opening about what's happening in the spirit realm and what's happening, like the battle that we have to wage against.
Yeah.
Against principalities of darkness.
Well, and the fact that you're coming into your teen years, the angst is starting to flow, and now you get this a little bit more of aggressive figure in music for Christianity. I mean, I could see how that would like be very formative, right? Especially when you've listened to all the lovey-dovey Christian music. You're like, where's the passion in this? It's all like anthems and lullabies and.
Yeah, I guess. There's other ones where it's like you're in the Lord's army and stuff where it's not pacificity.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But it's very like gentle.
Yeah, the
It's very
tones.
peaceful. It's very, gracious. You would say
The tones are very different.
meekness, which is, the things to say. But this was very much in your face. Like, it's not just about being nice.
It was aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It was aggressive.
Yeah, it was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Love Carmen. I don't know. I mean, I think it is because it's a part of my upbringing, but I think if I were to hear him now for the very first time, I'd be like, cringe. And I think every now and then I hear stuff like this and I'm like, oh, it's so cringe. I love it so much. Like, it just holds a special place. Okay, so we're like, just got into Ron Luce being a very passionate person. Yeah, I would... He was definitely passionate. He was very, very charismatic. He really had this gift of getting you excited with what he was excited about. Yeah, like he would get up there and he was so passionate. They were like, yes, I am also passionate. There is a part though they're talking about him being on like the Christian MTV kind of a thing, and he had a thing called What's Hot, and Striper smoking and drinking, and he was saying, and he said in the thing, so you could figure out for yourself if they're Christian, and if they stop being Christian. What do you say?
Are they even still a Christian?
Yeah, or are they still a Christian? That sentiment, I don't know that everybody experienced, but it was a huge sentiment my year.
In Honor Academy.
Huh?
In Honor Academy.
Yeah, my year at Honor Academy. They said that they were non-denominational, and it was, they were not non-denominational. They were, I guess, closer related to Pentecostal. And I'm sure we'll get more into that when we talk about the Honor Academy, but yeah, they had people who were, it was like RAs, room advisors, or residency advisors, where we had core advisors, and then we had assistant core advisors. And it was so baked in to the leadership that I had personally that my dad had a hard time in his relationship with God for a few years when I was growing up. He was doing a lot of soul searching, and anyway. And my assistant core advisor told me that if he wasn't daily walking with the Lord right now, then he either was never saved or his lampstand was going to be snuffed out. And because he wasn't currently seeking God on a daily basis, if he were to die, he would go to hell because he was no longer saved. And I had to pray for my dad's salvation to make sure that if he were to die while I was gone, it was my responsibility to pray my dad back to repentance, to get into a good relationship with God again, so that he could be saved again, so that he wouldn't go to hell.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that does provide an insight into the theology that was baked into the whole system, right? So
I mean, I don't know if it's the whole system. It was the person who was directly over me, and
if it's coming
they chose
from
the leadership.
If the leader of the whole thing,
I mean, we just heard him
say that, it's baked into the whole thing.
Yeah, so they're talking about Ron and how he would go places and have the kids bring all their secular music and destroy it and stuff. I remember one time at the Honor Academy we had, I don't even remember who the speaker was, but it was talking about your earthly possessions that are holding you back. And there were people that were throwing like money onto the stage, and people were bringing up like music that wasn't secular, but that maybe was holding, like tying them back to secular because it sounded too much like secular music. They'd bring that up. Someone brought up their leather jacket. Somebody brought up their keys to their Mazda Miata, and they were trying to give that away. Like, if I think inevitably they gave him his keys back, and they're like, no, you actually need to do, like, you can keep your car. But, like, because he had money, and or everybody thought he had a ton of money, but I don't think he had a ton of money. I think he just had this car, but because he had this convertible Mazda Miata, people thought, anyway, so I think he tried to give up his Miata, and people were giving up like rings that they had gotten from people from past relationships or from parents, or like there was tons of stuff going up. And I'm looking at this, and they like I think they scooped it up and put it into a big bag. And I was like, what are they gonna do with all of that? Like, are they gonna burn it, or are they gonna take the money out and donate it, or like what is happening with all of this stuff? And I was asking this girl next to me, and she's like, I don't know, but it's for the ministry. Like, people are getting rid of things that are holding them back from fully living for the Lord. And I was like, okay. And she's like, don't you have anything? And I was like, no. Like, girl, I don't have anything. Like, I came here not with any kind of wealth. So, no. Like, it was just... But it felt so powerful in those moments to be giving up, or to watch people give up things that had like value, or that, you know, people that had like books that they brought with them, or journals, or just tons of stuff. There was just a pile of a pile of material possessions that hundreds of kids in an auditorium were listening to, and they were giving things up for a better relationship with Christ. It's so weird watching this stuff, because there's a lot that I don't remember until it starts popping up, and it's like, oh my gosh, there was like, that's so interesting. Something that I remember. Okay, so they're talking about how Choir the Fire was put on by a bunch of teenagers, young adults. It's all put on by interns. And I remember, and they're saying like, all these teenagers are like, oh my gosh, the interns are so cool. The interns are so cool. I remember being like, oh my gosh, they're not much older than me, and they're helping put on this huge event. Like, it was insane. And we had one of these groups. You could have from Choir the Fire, you can have your youth pastor say that they wanted more information about Honor Academy and global expeditions and stuff like that. And so they would send out a team of second-year interns to talk to your church and talk to your youth group. And one of those girls that came was like the girl that talked me into going to the Honor Academy. But they come and they talk about it, and they we had like build your own pizza night at my parents' house. And it was just like, oh my gosh, they are so cool. They're like living for God, and they're doing all these amazing things for God. And it really was just like awe-inspiring as a teenager to be like, you're actually like doing it. You're doing the stuff for God. And so it may really hit home that it was something that you could be doing.
It was possible.
Be a part of. And it was this thing to be a part of that was so intense. And it wasn't crazy. Like, I have been told in my life before that, like, you're just too on fire for God. You need to tone it down. And so when these people came in just, like, not toned down, they were just loving God so loud. I was like, yeah, I have found people that are like me. It is okay to be excited about God and excited about the things He's doing in our lives. And, they were so cool. The altar calls. The altar calls were so insanely intense. And I remember every Acquire the Fire. It was like, you need to be saved. You need to stand up. Come to the front. We'll pray for you. And then it was like, and if you have given your heart to the Lord before, but you are going to rededicate your life to Him and say, yes, Lord, I am willing to live my life for you. I am so sorry of how I have not done that in the past. And I know that I promised again and again, but this time it's going to be different. This time I'm really going to live for you. This time. And it was just like this insanely emotional, like the whole weekend leads up to this. Like, you get all this fun and you get talking and you get all this music and this fun and then you get some talking and then it's like the gospel. And then the altar call. And it was so emotionally moving. And the amount of times that I said, I'm going to rededicate my life to you. I know that I haven't lived a perfect life. I know that I have let you down. I know, like, it was every single time, because I knew that if I wasn't this, if I wasn't like Ron Luce standing up for Jesus, that I had missed the mark. And I needed to be more like this guy who was so passionate and wasn't afraid to speak out. And every single time I was like, oh yes, I've got to be better. Yes, I'm not a good enough Christian. Yes, I haven't told enough people. Yes, I haven't been loud enough. Yes, I haven't, like, it was. And I would look around and be like, why are people sitting in their seats? How can they not feel this? And so part of it was like, well, maybe they're not ready. Another was like, oh, they haven't messed up this year. Like, they haven't really they don't feel like they've let God down. And so.
Yeah. It kind of, to me, it's kind of like for lack of better terms, a guilt sanctification situation, right? Because sanctification is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it was whether it was intended or not, it's a guilt tactic to bring you back to what they felt you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I can't even imagine how different it is for you going as an adult. I mean, you went when you were 23. And so I mean, you're still a young adult, but
Mm-hmm.
the difference being married, being an adult, living like a job in the world and having lived different experiences, been in the military, like all of these things, how vastly different it was for you going than me as a teenager
Right.
in high school.
It was still formative because it was the first concert that I went to that wasn't country. And that was also like about God.
Yeah.
Right. And it was fantastic, right? Because there's a lot of fantastical bands. It was fantastic music. The production was, even though it was put on by a bunch of teenagers, it was a really well produced show,
Yes.
and it was a
Yeah.
a very emotionally charged message that rang very well,
Yeah.
right?
It was everybody did amazing.
Fantastic speakers. They knew right where to kick you in the feels, right? And how to convey that message. So I mean, it was a powerful thing. It was very moving. It was very cool.
Yeah. I remember one of the biggest things that I guess forever changed a part of me was watching their skit, The Bema Seat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like all this stuff that you did in real life, and then you come to the Bema Seat and God says, well, that was nothing, or this was good, and it was just this whole, and it was just like, oh, what is my motivation behind everything? It was intense.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No. I mean, it was a fantastical show. Although I was not their key demographic on who they were actually trying to reach. I mean, I was just a happy little bystander, essentially.
Yeah.
Because the whole reason they're putting on all of these shows was to it's their feeder program, essentially. Like baseball teams have feeder programs into the higher situations. They're not only coming to proclaim this message, but it's also to get people to sign up to continue their ministry.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I saw there was like to continue different parts of their ministry, but also to like affect an entire generation.
Yes.
So that, which I don't feel is a bad thing.
No.
Because you do all these things, like other people do other things worldly to get people to come to their side. And so it's like, if you can get an entire generation, reach a whole generation or two of kids, because they say you got to get them before high school, and then once they hit college, it like drastically cuts off like their ability, their willingness to listen and them come to the Lord. And so I mean, I understand why like teenagers were targeted, because as youth leaders we were like, okay, we have to make sure that our time is intentional and that we are like pouring into these kids, because the amount of influence we have, positive and negative, drastically changes once they graduate high school.
Yes,
And
but
so-
what I'm saying is that even with the altar calls and all of that, it was a ministry machine, because if they did not continue to get interns, they would not have been able to continue their stuff. Right?
Yeah,
So-
I guess once the Honor Academy, I don't know where they, I mean, I guess they had the Honor Academy. It just wasn't like huge at that time.
Right.
And then it just started getting bigger, and then the bigger.
And I'm sure they started out
shows,
with like local volunteers. Like I was a local volunteer to do security
Yeah,
to get into the show. So
yeah,
like it is, they still tapped into the local markets, and I'm sure they did even more so when they were smaller. And then as it grew, right, in order to kind of keep their production up and keep, they start bringing people in, and then they're traveling with them, and then
I am a follower of Christ. He is the one
And only.
You can sing it.
I didn't know.
The one and only way to.
I had no idea that song that I had been singing, like,
Ray Bowles.
No, that was written specifically for Global Expeditions for Teen Mania. So interesting. So, one of the people were talking about when they went on a mission trip with Global Expeditions, and
because the Choir of the Fire was the feeder for Global Expeditions.
right, so you would go to Acquire the Fire, and they would be like, "Do you want to go on missions?" Right after the altar call, and then they would get you involved in that, which is great. Like, I go on missions, love that. Like, I think it's very important to get out of your teenage life and experience someone else's life, and to experience in a safe way. Sorry, I hiccup. Sharing the gospel with someone,
Right.
especially when it's like, oh, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to. But so it gives you words to say. It gives you a place to say them. It gives you other people that are in the same area, the same timidity that you are, to express those things. But she was saying that some of them were mimes, and so they were in a drama because they would use dramas, songs. There was always some kind of, because it was always dramas, you didn't have to have language. You can see what's happening. There's always people living worldly life. Satan is grabbing them, and then a Jesus character comes in and saves them, and there were mime characters that were set pieces, and she was saying that they would tell them, you can't move. If you move and it distracts someone and they're not saved and they go to hell, it's your fault. I remember similar sentiments. Maybe not on my mission trip. We went to California and we were talking to some of the Native Americans down there. We were on a reservation, and because I was an intern, and you had to go on a Global Expeditions mission trip before you could graduate. And I had been on several mission trips, just none with Global Expeditions. And so I needed to find one, but also, like, I just didn't know where I wanted to go, and I didn't have money, and it was 2001 and 2002, so it was also very different, like, in the world. And but I do remember that there was some sentiment while we were in training, because all of Global Expeditions, like, there's several waves of kids that come in onto campus down in Garden Valley, Texas, and there was a lot of sentiment about, like, be careful what you do and what you say and how you present yourself, because you don't want to be the reason that someone doesn't get saved. You don't want to be a distraction for yourself, or even kids who are going on the missions that maybe aren't saved yet, or you don't want to be a distraction because you don't want it to be your fault that they didn't get saved and they go to hell. And so there's so much pressure to be perfect and to be, like, always on, because you were terrified that one wrongdoing on your part was going to cause someone to go to hell. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
It is.
A lot of pressure to put on teenagers, to be like, it is your responsibility to get them into heaven.
Right. And I mean, your actions definitely do affect what people think and what people do.
Mm-hmm.
However, the onus should not have been put on you for their soul, right?
Right.
That's inevitably their issue and their thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hard, especially put upon a people pleaser,
Oh.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I could imagine that was intense.
It was very intense. It was.
All right.
Okay. Well, that was the first episode.
Yeah.
So there will be. That was Global
There's-
Expeditions and Acquire the Fire, really.
Yep.
And then a segue into Honor Academy,
right.
which I'm sure I'll have a lot more to talk about when we go through the next episode.
Yeah, but I mean, in all of it, like they did a really good job of mobilizing teens
Yeah.
to do what they felt was what they were to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's this whole thing of, was it a cult? Was it not a cult? Was it a cult? Was it not a cult?
Mm-hmm.
And
I think you
still don't know.
You will see more definitive in the next episode when they're talking about the actual training camp, right? Because in all of this pre-stuff, it's all get you excited to go and do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Then when you get into the actual doing the thing, you're like, oh, that's cool. Now I want to go and actually learn and do, right?
Right.
It's when you go to the learning and doing, that's when you really find what they actually believe. Rather than it just being an emotional response to a very well produced, highly charged social event.
Right.
Right? So, yeah. I mean, I can see it being, not that it was ever on the same level or whatever, but like Scientology, they get you excited about a thing, and then when you get into it, you're like, oh crap. If you ever come to that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll get into it more next one, but yeah, it was, I really thought that I was doing what I was supposed to, like the next step for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was take a year off and figure out, like, get closer with your relationship with God, find out what you're supposed to do with your life so that you're living in God's will. And
well, and it's like the girl said at the end, right? It just seemed natural. Finish high school, go to Teen Mania, and then, or go to Honor Academy.
right. Well, I mean,
Like it just seemed like the next natural step.
well, not for me so much.
I'm just saying for her.
Yeah, for her. I was going to go to college, but I only applied to one because I thought I was going to go.
You had dreams of grandeur.
Yeah, I thought I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. And that wasn't what I was supposed to do, apparently, or that's what I thought. I was like, oh, I guess this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, and some stuff kind of started falling apart, and I was like, I just don't know what I'm gonna do, and I was like, I could go to the Honor Academy. That'll give me a year. And one of the girls from my youth group had gone. And she enjoyed it, and I was like, yes, I'm going to go, and I'm going to learn about myself, and I'm going to learn about God, and I'm going to get stronger in my relationship with Him so I can know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And because they promise, essentially, that you're going to find out, like, God's purpose for your life, and what you're supposed to do through all these different life-transforming events.
Right.
And, yeah. So, it's Danny had said, she's in the thing. She had said on Facebook, she's like, "Welcome to the LTE. Welcome to the life transforming event." And like, just watching the recap this far is already like, knowing that it was coming up. I was like, okay. I'm not one that's like everything was bad, because there were really good things, but there also were some very hard, very big things that I had to unravel and that I am still unraveling. And so just knowing that it was coming out was a little anxiety inducing, just not fully knowing what emotions were happening. And so I did not watch it on the day that it came out. I was like, I'm gonna need some time. So it's been a couple days, and so we'll see now. I guess we'll see where it goes
Right.
once we get into episode 2,
For sure.
where they're going to cover the Honor Academy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Shiny Happy People. So it's
Yeah, Shiny Happy
Shiny
People.
Happy People, Season 2, Episode 1.
Right. Thank you for watching, and hit the like, subscribe, all that fun jazz.
And if
We
you
will-
have questions or comments, definitely put them down below.
We will continue this and go through all 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Just talk about Alethea's experience at the whole thing, because I mean, like I said, I've only ever been to the concert stuff. I was in a different place in life, had a kid, was married. Like it wasn't for me to do what they were selling, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.